Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Metal Gear Rising Jetstream Sam DLC Master of Wind walkthrough. So what exactly does that mean? Well, there's an achievement and a trophy in the new content that's just been released to beat Revengeance mode in under an hour. And that sounds like a pretty daunting task, because it is quite a daunting task. But it's very doable, folks. It's just challenging, and that's a good thing, because we like challenge, that's why we play games. But Sam is very different to Raiden. Sam is a little bit clunky, a little bit slower, he's got more of a focus on brute force and charge attacks than Raiden. He cannot do ninja kills for some reason, he can't execute people, and I really don't know why. He's got a double jump though, which is absolutely sexy. And a couple of things to bear in mind: you're not going to be upgrading him at all throughout this playthrough. You can get his life to increase and his blade bar to increase through finding collectibles, but I'm not going to be able to show you where all of those are because I don't know and I haven't found them. I'm just going to hopefully get you through the game. Strategy, for fights, per fight basis, and hopefully you'll get this done in under an hour. So the first one is quite simple. Perfect parry the mini guy to hit the hammer guy, and hopefully you'll be able to Zandatsu them both, and you'll get a nice quick kill and a checkpoint. And you'll notice I'm equipping my nano paste, and you might be wondering why am I doing this. On this game, when you die, it logs your death, and it logs the time of battle, so it all adds towards your final outcome of the time limit. And to get this done in under an hour, you do not want to be logging your deaths, so every time... the way I play this is the same way I played the S-rank guide I made. I put a nano paste on to save me from getting insta-killed, and if I get hit, I just restart. And you might think that that's a waste of time, but it's actually going to save you a lot of time, because when you don't die, you don't log any time on the game, except for the victory runs, and the victory runs are usually going to be quite quick. And if you do this correctly, you will have no issue getting the under an hour achievement. If you can beat this stuff and get through it, you will get that achievement. It's almost a given. And it's just the easiest way to guarantee that you don't, make mistakes against things like this enemy that you barely saw in the main game, that you actually see quite frequently in this. And I say frequently, the DLC is about 2 hours long, give or take. If you're playing on a harder difficulty, it can take you longer. It is very skill independent, on how much enjoyment or how much time you get out of the DLC. There is no, achievement for S ranking or anything like that. You don't even have to do all the ranked fights. I'm going to miss a hell of the ranked fights because I haven't found them all yet, and this is a guide for function and speed. This is not a guide to help you find everything and do everything. So I'm just keeping it limited to what it does best, and that's getting through the DLC in a pretty brisk pace and with the least amount of effort needed. Because one thing people are going to struggle with this is Sam does not have Ripper mode. Sam does not have any other weapons, any sub-weapons. Sam is essentially a sword and your skills. And I think that's a great thing because it separates the good players from the ones who relied on, certain tropes that Raiden was presented with, and it's definitely going to test your skills, for better or for worse. But it tests them in a good way, so I was quite happy with it. The DLC itself it's definitely worth the money if you're interested in this game. It's not a bad piece of DLC by any standards, but it is reused environments and reused bosses, and I have to say that the bosses have all been given pretty much a new attack, a single new attack, or a slight change to the way that they play. They all seem to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more frequent to attack, and I think they've made them worse. They've took perfectly good boss fights and they've lessened them by adding cheap moves or things that didn't exist before, and that is a shame, but it's still different. That's entirely personal for me, that I didn't like the bosses. The enemy encounters are a little bit close to the VR missions, where they put you up against enemies that you never really fought in the main game, and so much so that they can be very challenging at first, because it's a combination of dudes that will beat you up. But here's a hammer guy. The cool thing about the hammer guy with Sam, if you have a full blade bar and you do a full charged quick draw by holding Y, you will usually critical hit him into a YB move that allows you to do the Zandatsu, and it makes them extremely easy to kill. It's so useful. Sometimes it's not as you know, flawless. There are variabilities to if you're going to get the dismemberment, if you're going to, you know, cue that critical, but it's still really useful. There it was, just there. But Sam's evade's interesting too. Sam doesn't have to press a direction to evade, which is cool. You can just press A and X and he will do a flip. And I don't know if this is because of the complaints that were garnered at the main game for the dodge being far too, you know, convoluted in button pressings to do reliably or to have any real control. Which I do think there are merits to that argument, but once you get used to the dodge, it wasn't as bad as people made out. But that is the end of the first part of the DLC, folks. The boss is coming up in the next video, so I'll see you in that, and you take care now.